This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. The big news that came out earlier today was the death of Lanny Poffo at 68 years old, brother of Macho Man, WWE and WCW superstar. However, he was under contract with WCW for 3 years, but never actually wrestled a match. Luckily for him, Dynamite was down in ratings this week. It did a 0.31. WWE had their investors call for the last quarter of 2022 today and announced 1.3 billion in net revenue, which is pretty crazy. WWE CEO Nick Khan says any concern about Vince McMahon staying with the company post sale would not be a factor for a potential buyer that doesn't want that. Of course, if they sell to someone that doesn't want him, they have no they don't have to buy it if he's part of the deal. Hence why he would rather probably sell to private investor, where the shareholders' opinions wouldn't be a problem. But of course, people that if you buy something, you don't have to keep the old people in charge. And he'd be getting a massive payoff and could start his own wrestling company if he really wanted to. Or they could sell it to someone like Saudi Arabia that might keep him in charge and make it private so they don't have to deal with investor lawsuits and so forth, like are popping up all over the place now, which I think will only be more motivation to sell quickly. There was less house shows last year in WWE. Very few Sunday house shows. Pay-per-views. There was a lot more people watching the pay-per-views because now they air on Peacock rather than the WWE network, and it's cheaper to have Peacock that includes all this non-wrestling content. Plus, you also get the pay-per-view. So of course, more people are going to watch pay-per-views because it's part of Peacock now. You don't have to have the WWE network, and you don't have to pay $60 for pay-per-views anymore. Could you imagine how much better the pay-per-views would be if they still had to make money off of pay-per-view sales? But now it doesn't really matter because they're on Peacock and they get a set amount of money. They mentioned that the crown jewel in Saudi Arabia was the most viewed international event ever, featuring Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns. And again, that was on Peacock. And of course, they're doing another sponsored match at WrestleMania 39, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Just like this Mountain Dew pitch black match where Uncle Howdy jumped on LA Knight and totally missed him. Very Shockmasterish, but apparently someone is paying or sponsorship for WrestleMania is over 14 million right now. So that's pretty good. 14 million is a lot of money in just sponsorships. Can you imagine this? They got 14 million in sponsorships, and they still couldn't come to a deal with The Rock or Austin to appear. That's unfortunate. They're in Hollywood, and it looks like the only Hollywood person wrestling on the show at this point is going to be John Cena. Grandma Daisy, thanks for the $5 tip. Typhoon might happen later this month. I'll keep you posted. Robert Brown says, R.I.P. Lanny Poffo. He survived the Death Dealer. He was an interesting fellow, very eccentric and strange. I was very close to him at one point. I definitely gave him a lot of paydays. I noticed once Macho Man passed, And from my understanding, the royalty money started going to him, and he didn't need independent paydays as much. He rarely did independent shows after that. He didn't act as nice anymore because he didn't need my paydays anymore, probably. Any updates, Lanny, cause of death? No. Somewhat, a lot of people have been saying he's in heaven. I just want to say he always called God the invisible man in the sky, and he was a devout atheist. Unless things changed dramatically over the last 10 years, he was not a religious person. He was very proud that he didn't do drugs and stuff, and often talked very negatively about people that did drugs, including people he managed like Kurt Hennig. But it's interesting, in the end, the Iron Sheik outlived both Lanny Poffo and Nikolai Volkov. And Billy Graham, 79, a full 11 years past Lanny's age, with all Billy Graham did in his 20s and 30s. And he's fighting for his life right now, but still going. And Billy Graham has a GoFundMe right now. LA Knight is a stupid name. Someone says, there's an interview with him when he wrestled for Impact with me on this channel. He was in WWE before and had some sort of falling out due to Bill DeMott, and then went off. And unlike a lot of people that they signed back, he actually made a name for himself in Impact and then came back. And I'll be honest, in my dealings with him, he was on the same show in Ottawa here that I wrestled on for Impact in 2017. He was champion then. He was I got along with him, to be honest with you. I didn't talk to many people when I was back there other than Abyss, who I'd wrestled before, LA Knight, and Bobby Lashley. Those were the main people I talked to. It seemed very cliquish at that time backstage. Everyone was at like tables in their little cliques. Who has some Macho money now? Well, Macho Man did have a wife who, and then there's Lanny Poffo has a daughter. A lot of people were saying the Poffo name is dead now. Well, there is a daughter that lived with his ex-wife. Lanny, again, he had a bad experience in his first marriage. He was very frugal, and he claimed he would never get remarried. And he was cheap. I mean, this guy wore free shirts. I guess one of the reasons he probably liked working for me is I usually bought people meals when I drive with them, and we usually rode together. I did find him funny. I'll be honest. I found him comic relief. And one of the reasons I used him so much in my early days was he was reliable, for one thing, and he's funny. And he'll literally hit on any girl that's around him. And I've heard Bushwhacker Luke say this too, but it was obvious. It didn't matter if she was early 20s or 40s or 50s. It was comical to see. He would sing to them. He would read them poetry. He would like latch on to them. There's a video on here of him paddling some girl in a canoe on a show we did in New Brunswick, where we were staying. It was so rural. We were staying at like a camp with cottages, and he's singing and paddling this girl, and then he drops the paddle in the water, and then famously, after, this is the most hilarious thing. As she's getting out of the canoe, he's like, "Oh, let me help you," and he squeezes her ass. It was so blatant, but yeah, funny guy. Someone liked Eli Drake better. Yeah, I forgot that was his name. Piper's good. Lanny did a good Andre impression. Yes, I gave Lanny a subdermal hematoma. And by the way, I did make a compilation video of not every GNW match Lanny ever had, but there's like an hour and 20 minutes worth that I put on this. It's processing right now. It'll be up later tonight because he had a lot of matches for us, and these are just some. There were others that weren't as good quality that I left out. And at one point, Lanny and I were actually partners on a few shows. At one point, when I was dealing with medical issues, we partnered on two shows together in 2012. So yeah, we were friends. For everyone that wanted to be judgmental of my death announcement joke that I made, that I'm sure Lanny would have found funny. I was actually pretty close to him. Gave him more pay than anyone complaining about me. Gave him guaranteed. I gave him thousands and thousands of dollars over the years, and we were friends. I bought him a lot of lunch, a lot of dinners. He wrote poetry for me. I actually admitted to my ex-wife today that he had written a poem for her back when we were just dating before we lived together. And yeah, he definitely changed once he got that WWE, got back on WWE's good side. But of course, Lanny's special talent will live forever. That is true. And if you don't know what Lanny's special talent is, he talks about it in several interviews with me. The locker room video was the realest thing he ever saw. And the reason Lanny did that with me, for one thing, someone had convinced us to put a show out in the middle of nowhere thinking it would do well. And there was nobody there, and there was documentary cameras. So we thought we would at least make something out of that night. But also he really liked me, and he wanted me to be a success as a wrestler. So it was a way of him putting me over. And Honky Tonk Band would participate in that too, because as everyone knows, Honky and I used to be pretty close as well. Why does my ex-wife hate you calling Piper Newborn Piper? She definitely hated. I don't know. She didn't have much of a sense of humor, I guess, for some things. But now that I have been single for over a year now, she was great. I can tell you that. There's a lot of not so good people out there, that, especially if you're a YouTube personality, that people just want to use you, or they think you're rich, or have money and want to take your money or get publicity off of your YouTube channel. So I'm not really worrying about females these days. I'm working on getting this channel a success, and getting a good physique. Robert, do I still talk to Honky Tonk Man? Here and there? I talked to him when I was in Arizona, but at that time, I believe he's going to do some wrestling appearances this year. Maybe I'll be able to convince him for another interview, but since he got back on good terms with WWE, he too doesn't want to do interviews. And I don't blame them. If they're on good terms with WWE and getting money from them, why do something for just one payday that's going to get you heat with WWE? Andrew, we are on good terms now, and we're working together on some things, and we're sharing Piper. Piper is with her right now. Bob Newhart, 350K subscribers. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And I'd like to thank all of you guys for it. I truly appreciate you guys, and thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for helping me. get to 350,000 subscribers. Someone says the UFO lady was great, crazy, but great. I don't know which one you're talking about. There's been a few recently that are more on the out there side, but I'm not saying that I fully agree with any of the people that I have on here. But I'm open-minded, and I like to hear people out. And on that note, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Follow us on Facebook too, where these live streams are ad-free. And have a wonderful evening. I will be posting that Lanny Poffo match compilation very soon. R.I.P. to him, truly. I am sorry to hear that. And I was seriously just joking earlier. But at the same time, yes, Lanny was right. Every day is a gift. You could go at any day, and with the type of work I've done over the years and the situations I've been in, I am truly blessed to be alive. And I know Lanny lived a good life, and I'm sorry that he passed. I'm surprised and shocked about that. So I'd say God bless you, Lanny, but you don't believe in God. So I hope that that your spirit is in a good place.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates.